Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. I, the pure consciousness, would manifest the words of truth and would manifest the words of wisdom. I, pure consciousness, or the sense of self-awareness, would speak only the words of truth and the words of wisdom. Blessings be on the listener who is the seeker of truth, the listener who does not discard or accept anything but their own experience, whether it's a her or it's a him. Gender has no significance here. The color has no significance here. The country of origin has no significance here. How the person speaks has no significance here. The only significance that there is here, the only significance that there is in for the sacred and for the divine is what's your intent. What's your intent? You see, intention is the birth of the entire creation. Even in the religion, when you look in different sacred books of an organized or monotheistic religion, even in those books they say, in the beginning there was Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. You see, I don't read all this, but I know, because I have become receptive and I practice non-duality, which is also the topic for today's retreat. Somebody wrote me 3 or 4 days back, but I didn't get around to their inquiry because yesterday I performed guided meditation, and the day before I chose a topic which I thought was significant to choose. You see, today, last night they emailed me one more time and said, Swami, can you please answer the inquiry? And I said, first thing when I wake up, I would go in a profound state of meditation, and then of course we are going to answer the inquiry. In that profound state of meditation we would answer that inquiry. So I still am in a profound state of meditation, but I have full control on the very existence of mind, which exists on numerous levels. So I am capable of answering while still remaining in the deep state of meditation, which is a great thing. Second thing, this person said to me that your videos or your retreats, the messages basically, these we find ourselves totally fascinated. We find ourselves totally attached, you see, tightly attached to your words and to your wisdom. However, when you speak, what's the word I'm looking for? They tried to explain that. I want to sum it up in one word. Yeah, when you speak, it's very amateur. Amateur meaning the video itself is made without any type of retake or pre-program or reading the script or anything like that. It's just it seems very authentic and it seems very real. So the So we don't know, and you never say in your retreats, you never say in your messages or videos that please go ahead and like, or please go ahead and share my videos. You see, they also mention that. So I have written an answer to them, and of course, I'm now answering their inquiry. As far as the messages I convey, that's how I look at it, that I am conveying a message. So, as far as the messages I'm conveying, as far as the messages I'm conveying, or as far as I'm having this one side conversation, or giving the tools to lead a happy life, my intention is not to brag or to market myself. That's not the intention. And I cannot or I won't pursue anyone to do so. You see, I have nothing against it. If you feel like that this video would make any difference in the face of this planet, if you feel like this video would bring clarity in somebody else's life, if you feel like that somebody would become more happier in their lives, and if you feel all of that basically in your awareness, that people ensured that people can be benefit from my words of truth and wisdom, I have nothing against it. Of course, the copyrights are the general YouTube copyrights. That's perfectly fine, but I'm not concerned with that. If you feel like that it would make a difference in a positive manner, if you feel like it would make somebody happy or bring more clarity in their awareness so the suffering can be lessened or even end, please go right ahead and share my video. It's perfectly fine. If you want to like my video, you go right ahead and do so too, because I have nothing against it. However, as I said, if you feel, I would never, excuse me, I would never pursue you by saying in my video, either in the beginning or the end, hey, please guys, go ahead and like and share and never forget to subscribe. I would never do that. I would never pursue a person to something they don't feel comfortable with. That's the liberty. That's the first thing towards our enlightenment, or that's the first thing towards our clarity. So I would never do that. If you feel like it, I want you to feel it from within. If you don't feel like it, that's perfectly fine. You wouldn't do that. But I would never pursue you through my words to do that. Basically, I would give you all the liberty, all the freedom, because that's your freedom, that's your liberty, that's your playing ground. Play and go as far as you can go. That's your liberty, it's your life. I would never be the one who would tell you how to live your life. I would, the videos and these retreats I do, basically I do it so I can tell you when something is working for me. It very well might be working for you, because real me, not this accumulation or the accumulation on mine, but real me and authentic me is exactly the same as you. So when I can lead a happy life, or the life of peace all the time, or for the most part in my day, then so can you. That's why I give you an option. What you do with this information, what you do with this wisdom, what you do with this truth is entirely your business. My job is done. You see, that's how I look at things. Practical. So I hope that's answered. I hope that answers your statement or your inquiry about that I never mentioned to like, subscribe, or share. So that's, of course, I answered that. I answered that in a way that nobody can get confused. Number two is you inquired 3, 4 days ago because my work days are starting from tomorrow, and I'm gonna be working quite if you so it's a great thing. Work is important. This way you are not depending on anybody. You are independent. Work is extremely important. And then you of course try to help through work. So work is important, your good intention is important. Of course, reward of doing something would come, but you are not attached to the reward. Your intention is just to help. That's how I look at it. And when you work with that keeping in mind, you are more productive because it's authentic. It's not attached to a reward. It's not attached to a result. You see. So anyway, so they inquired about non-duality. The what is non-duality in spiritual circles? When they start watching my videos here on YouTube, when they start watching my messages and start following me here on YouTube, they said to me that this you have mentioned quite a bit non-duality when there is no duality in you, and you have mentioned also the Vedas, and you have also mentioned about the Brahman and Aham Brahman, or you have mentioned the teaching of rishis. And then when we look into it in detail, we realize that there is a word which is mentioned, non-duality. So to answer your question is non-duality is the opposite of duality. I'm just kidding with you. Of course, I'm gonna elaborate in detail. I'm not just gonna wind up the message here. I was just joking. Of course, I mean it's the opposite of duality. It's correct, but we of course are going to look into it together. So we are just going to do that. Just wanted to show you some humor. Anyway, so what's happening is, have you ever heard the teachers are telling their students, or the elders are telling youngers when they try to rather domesticate them, they say, pay attention. Have you ever heard people saying that, pay attention, or I need your focus intact? Even I said it in some videos in the past, that I need your focus intact or pay attention. The difference between me saying that and them saying that, I tell you how to pay attention or I need your focus intact. They don't. They just tell you that pay attention or I need your focus here. They tell you in out loud, they raise their voices and stuffs like that, but they never tell you how. They just tell you that. You see? So non-duality is something, when you have non-duality, your focus would remain intact everywhere and your awareness would become brightened. Duality means that, of course, you are dwelling, that's for one. You are dwelling and between liking and disliking. Duality is, I like this, I don't like that. I prefer this place, I don't prefer this place. I like this person, I don't like this person. I don't like that place, or I don't like that music, or I don't like. All this I don't like is duality in the awareness. And the thing, how nature is not operating on what you like or dislike. You see, nature is just not revolving around you. It's not going to happen that way. Otherwise, you would not be able to shed any karma you have accumulated. There has to be things that you don't like. There has to be things that you do not like. There has to be. As a matter of fact, since the clarity in my perception, I'm not bragging about myself, I'm giving you an example. You would know in the end why I'm saying that. The clarity in my perception is brilliant. So I see the cause and I see the effect in my life, and I see the more a person is saying I don't like it, or I see the more a person is resisting something. See, resistance, the friction, the duality. It's because the more they are doing it, the more it would come to you. The more it would come to you till you learn something from it. It would come to you from different forms, and it would come to you in different shapes, and it would just keep coming back to you. Excuse me. It would just keep coming back to you over and over and over till you learn, till you really learn something from it. It would just keep coming back to you over and over and over till you really learn something from it, that what it is that is trying to teach me. The only way you would do so when you take time and analyze a situation, but most humans do not operate in that way. They, when of course there's a friction, I don't like it, and they are not taking time to analyze the entire situation, what happens is they become very frustrated, and there reflects in their communication with others, and the negativity spreads. You see what I'm saying? What was that, on non-duality? um, there was a Sri Ramana Maharishi. Sri Ramana Maharishi's a student. I can't remember his name. Robert Adam, I guess, if I remember correctly. He wrote an entire book about this. So if you want to go ahead and look into it, you go ahead and look into it. However, one paragraph was brilliant in his book, and in this para he's saying this experience itself would keep repeating in different form and different shapes. It wouldn't go anywhere if you dislike an experience till you learn something from it. And that's brilliant. That's what exactly is happening. Nature does not revolve around an individual or revolve around you or me. Nature is choosing the experience, the very experience of the principles are the nature, and you may dislike something, it would keep repeating. So how do we not dislike something? You see, first I'm telling you that duality is the human intellect. Duality is the human ego. And that creates I like and I dislike. I like that place, I dislike that place. So how you transcend that, basically, while still, of course, still remain in the experience, but how you transcend these traits, that's the question. So it basically depends on numerous things. You see what I'm saying? It basically depends on numerous things, but as you know and you remember that I look at things very profoundly. So one thing it basically depends when you start disliking something is to believe what has been handed over to you. You see, as I mentioned, one of the book by my mentor Don Miguel Ruiz, The Four Agreements. You see, I keep mentioning the book. It's very outstanding book. The book itself is enough to bring tremendous amount of clarity in you. So in that book, he mentions that people sometimes try to hook your attention. You do what you don't bother to look is the intention of such a person. You see, you have become like a gullible child that whatever is handed over to you would just go ahead and believe. I used to know a live example would be I used to know a lady up north when we were living in the state of Washington. This lady dramatically, I mean, she was very friendly and she liked my humor, but in a few days, dramatically, you see, her entire attitude changed towards myself. And I noticed that. Of course, I would notice in less than a second, I noticed that. So I said to myself, I would not make any assumptions. If something has to manifest, it would come up. But a couple of days, it was quite a bit of negative tension she emitted towards me. So I spoke with her. I said, what's the problem here? You see, because I believed in communication, so I asked this lady, I said, what's the problem here? Talk to me. Because I feel it, and what I feel it, I believe in it, because I believe in at least myself. And she said that somebody told her that I said something about her towards somebody, through somebody, or I told somebody something about this particular lady. And I said, I never said that. It's a lie. And I took this lady and went to this person that she was told from. And I said, hey, pal, what's up? And I didn't get into a rage or fight. These things are unnecessary. But I said, did you mention that? She's just right here. And he was busted right then and there. Some he was somebody like this. Oh, I said no English because that is not making any sense to me what you are saying. So he just kind of walked away from the scene, and I looked at her and I said, you see. So she literally was not happy with this fella because there was a lie. So Don Miguel Ruiz actually mentioned in his book, The Four Agreements, that question everything. You hear something about somebody from somebody and you just believe it. Don't believe it. It's don't believe it. You don't know the intention of the person. The intention of the person may be very ill, to keep you restless. Have you thought about that? So don't believe what you hear all the time. You see? And two, if you see, I'm just answering your inquiry, the how you approach non-duality in your awareness, because it's significant, it's very important. And number two, basically, that you don't dwell on things. You see liking, disliking, hating someone, or loving someone. Just keep one eye for everything. That's what we understand in a nutshell, or in a bottom line, non-duality. Okay, it doesn't have to be complicated. Everything in creation is very simple, only if you have the eye for it. Number two is somebody is acting a little weird or a little upset towards you for any number of reasons, or at least that's how you are perceiving. So, on a reasonable time, you can speak with that person politely without having to involve in a rage or some type of aggressive manner. You can ask, you can communicate politely. Communicate, don't make assumptions. Go ask them, is everything okay? Is there anything I can do? Did I cause you any upset? Things, small things like that. But unfortunately, humans, or at least most of them, they live in their ego. They, oh, why should I go to this person? Or why should I apologize? Or why should I break the silence? Break the ice, break the silence. Why should I do all that? This person can very well do the same. Well, if you don't want to do it, then you would be restless. Then you would live, unfortunately, in a restless state, you see, and it would just keep piling up and keep piling up and keep piling up. So go ahead and do that, okay? Leave the ego aside. So there remains no friction. At least you lessen one friction in your awareness. So there is no friction, there is non-duality. Now you are not dwelling on something. You see, there is non-duality. I'm giving you all these examples of non-duality. Non-duality is also can be taken in a very higher sense, where you go and you comprehend or try to comprehend just the source of the creation purely. You see, that is also non-duality, where you do not dwell there on something outside of yourself. It can be a scripture, it can be a sculpture, it can be something, a holy man, what you consider. It can be any number of things. That's what I am saying to you. But that any number of things basically are, when you go straight to the source of the creation, when you don't dwell anything outside, when you look within, looking within or looking inside means that you are approaching or trying to experience the very source of your own creation through yourself, but not by being somebody or not being told. And how can you do it? You see, I tell you small things and I even elaborate on that in detail. How can you do it? The first thing you do, that you are not very attached or connected from outwards, like your the friction in your awareness is very less. I gave you a couple of examples. Don't make assumptions, clarify. I don't like this, I like this on the behalf of somebody. Challenge your belief, challenge everything which is being told to you, and see if it is friendly or it is suppressing the very expression of your life. You see, challenge that. So these are the things, then you are not totally attached from outside. Then, if you want to experience the source of very creation, what it would do, all these parameters or all the measures you are taking, it would lessen the negativity, or it would leave your brain, it would leave your thought process, it would leave your mind alone. Then you make time for yourself. Everything comes down to, if you want to walk on a spiritual path, I have a news for you, pal, that everything comes down to when you to making time solely for yourself every day. I gave you a meditation technique, the breathing. You see, it's not the oxygen is going in your nose and carbon dioxide is coming out. It's not. When these are just the markers, have no meanings in reality. The truth I live in, it has no meanings. 50,000 years ago, humans started their journey on the face of this planet. You see, and then little by little they start evolving within human parameters, mean start inventing things, and science came into being. This science is mostly based on concepts, science is mostly based on markers. So, numerous thousand years after, since human existed, they came with the words oxygen and carbon dioxide. Were you not breathing before they came up with the markers such as oxygen or carbon dioxide? I'm asking you a question. Were you not breathing that time? Of course you were breathing. That's the answer, and it's common sense. This is no rocket science. You were breathing that time, you were breathing in, and you were breathing out, you see. And then later on, human came with the word and started evolving scientifically. So I gave you the tool, the pay attention. Pay attention to your breathing. That you are breathing life in and you are breathing life out. Pay attention how significant that is. You are breathing life in and you are breathing life out. Now, number third is basically when you do this process, you see, when you do this process, you need to keep your spine attentive or erect, as comfortable as you can, not to put yourself, God forbid me, through pain. No. Otherwise, there is no point of all this. The point of all this to make you happy. You see, as comfortable but attentive you sit. Because remember, Sri Yogananda said when he came to America, Sri Yogananda, he mentioned that your backbone or your spine basically is the place where God runs through in your body. What he said basically, God runs through your body, he meant um, the consciousness or pure awareness runs through itself. So it's important to keep it in a way that it is totally, the door open remains totally good. And then you are paying attention to the life which is going in and to the life which is going out. Now, I try to avoid mentioning things here which yet is not your experience, because your imagination flies then, and then you try to imagine any number of things, you see. And I discourage that, because I want you to experience truth through your own experience, but not to take my lead. I am here to give you tools, but I always encourage you to experience truth through yourself. So when I will, however, mention that, not in detail, but a little. When I am in that state of meditation, you see, my legs are crossed, my backbone is attentive, and my palms are resting on my knees upwards, and I'm paying attention to my breathing, that I'm breathing life in consciously, and I'm breathing life out. Just I do it sometime for numerous hours. I go in a very profound, very deep state of samadhi. And then what happens? My eyes remain open, but I don't blink. Sometime even for hours, I don't blink. So when I see life very clearly. What and I'm not saying it with any arrogance. I'm not. I would never do that. However, an average person cannot see that. I'm not saying I'm above average, I'm beyond average. I'm just more alert. You see, I'm just more aware. So, so that person may not see it, but when I go in a deep state of samadhi, I see life very clearly. It's all over, all around us. It supports the accumulation and all the things which are run by life. You see? So I go in that deep of a state. As for being better, there is no better here. It's not a competition. You see? Um, a woman fell in love with Buddha. You have heard of Buddha, Gautama, Siddhartha, you see? Buddha the Enlightened. Of course, she fell in love with Buddha because the level of attraction was very high. He was enlightened, plus so she and her husband, who was a local, some type of authority, Raja, Maharaja type of thing, he became very jealous because, and he went to Buddha in a rage and said, "You think?" He went to Buddha in a rage and he said, "You think that you are better?" And Buddha actually looked at him and he said, "No, I do not ever think that I am better. However, I know for a fact that I'm more aware than you." So that's the difference. When Swami Vivekananda, somebody asked Swami Vivekananda that what is the difference between an average person and a wise person. Swami Vivekananda said the difference between an average person and a wise person is the difference of focus. An average person does not have good focus. The attention unfortunately is scattered or can be distracted drastically, can be distracted. But the wise person who is working towards enlightenment, his focus is tremendous. The Swami Vivekananda said. So that's what you would do every day. I have told you. So there you then you would see things more clearly, and you would experience literally the source of creation through your own experience, that you are not dwelling on anything outside of yourself. You are experiencing what you essentially are, pure consciousness or pure awareness, which is the birth of everything. You see, you would experience that. It takes time, but you would get there. Non duality, when you go, there is, you are not dwelling, you are not making dualities, or you are not giving birth left and right to dualities. You go straight to the source. You go straight to the self, where there is no human ego, where there is no separate self. There is just consciousness, you see, or there is just pure awareness. So that's what non duality is. So, anyway, I hope I have answered your inquiry. And if you have any questions or confusions, feel free to write me. I would always get around it.